Alright, thank you for watching my Ducati front brake fluid bleed flush video. First off, let me start by saying no, you do not have to rip all your plastics off to do this. I was doing some major work to the bike, so I had everything off, and while I have it off, I went ahead and flushed out the brake fluid. It's just easier when your windscreen's not on. So all I'm doing is removing the two screws that hold the reservoir cover down, and I'm going to set it down on top of some rags. Be sure to use plenty of rags and towels to keep the brake fluid off of your paint. So this is my Mighty Vac. Um, you can use whatever brand that you like. I prefer Mighty Vac. Mighty Vac is probably the best vacuum pump you can buy. The Harbor Freight one works okay. The Craftsman one works okay. But the Mighty Vac does something that those don't do. The Mighty Vac will both push fluid through the system and pull fluid through the system. Where it doesn't matter with the Ducati, if you're working on a BMW, it's nice to have a pump that'll actually pump the brake fluid into the system from the calipers. So as you see, I just cleaned out the reservoir with some clean paper towels. And now I'm going to fill up the reservoir with some CarQuest .4. I use CarQuest because I like uh, giving business to local shops in the area, and it's fairly cheap. It really doesn't matter what .4 you use. With the Ducati, you're going to go through so much of it so often that you might as well just get whatever. So I'm starting on the left side. It's always a good idea to start with the furthest caliper away from the master and then work your way to the closest. So I'm going to pull one reservoir through the system, and then I'm going to top the reservoir back off. Be sure when you're done bleeding your system that you wipe everything down very well. I can't stress it enough. Do not get dot 3, dot 4, anything on your paint or any other surface, and make sure you put that rubber cap back on top of your bleeder valve. So right now you just see I just topped off the reservoir again with dot 4, and now I'm going to start on the right side. Again, I just put my wrench down on the bleeder valve and I give it a turn just to break it loose. I put my Mighty Vac on there and pump it up and then break the bleeder valve open, and I'm going to pull another almost full reservoir. I'm going to pull it down to where it's just above the low mark on the reservoir. So keep an eye on your reservoir when you're pumping. Um, don't go beyond the low mark. You don't want to pull fluid all the way through your system, and then you're stuck having to bleed the hoses and bleed the master cylinder. It's just too much work for this project. Again, you want to wipe everything down, wipe it down very good with clean paper towel, and that little rubber cap that goes on the bleeder valve, make sure you put that back on. You don't want to introduce any garbage, dirt, and debris into that little hole that you bleed your brakes with. So now we want to go right up to the full level. Don't go beyond the full level. Full is fine. And you always want to keep your brake fluid at this color. The color that comes out of the bottle is the color you want your brake fluid to stay, along with your clutch fluid. Um, when it starts getting dark, that's when you'll start noticing that your brakes aren't working as well as they should, and it's probably time to swap it out. I usually go a year on the brake fluid, and my clutch is a little bit different. It's usually about every 6 months on the clutch fluid, and I'm going to say it's probably because the clutch line runs so close to the engine that the engine just cooks that fluid and just turns it brown almost immediately. And once your fluid's brown, it's just useless. You might as well change it. It's easy enough to do. If you've spent the $40 and bought the Mighty Vac already, you might as well just change your fluid out. It's easy enough. So this is pretty much my video of how to swap out the dot 4 in your front brakes. I hope this was informative to you. Please do watch some of my other videos. I could really use the extra hits. Thanks for watching. See ya.